Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, and in today's video we are going to talk about 6 more amazing Pokemon that you can use on Soul Guardian. I already made a video before which was more towards Pokemon of early to mid game, so now we are going to focus more of mid to late game on this video. But before we start talking about the Pokemon, I need to tell you what is the Fear strategy because I'm going to talk about Fear strategy during this video. Fear stands for Focus Sash, Endeavor, Quick Attack, Rattata. This is basically a strategy that is used on some Pokemon games where you put the enemy at 1 HP with Endeavor and you just finish them off with a quick attack. How Endeavor works is that it cuts down the enemy's HP to the same HP that you have. So if your Pokemon is wearing, for example, a Focus Sash and you are full HP, what happens is that the enemy moves first, it puts your Rattata at 1 HP, so you are attacking second, you use Endeavor, and on the next round, since your enemy is also 1 HP, you just use Quick Attack and you basically just killed a level 100 Groundon with a freaking Quick Attack Rattata level 1. This strategy is very used early mid and even on the late game because there are multiple Pokemon. It's not just Rattata that can do this, but Rattata, for example, this was the Rattata that I was using, and sometimes I would even use Sucker Punch myself because I would predict that the enemy has a quick attack. For example, imagine that the enemy just swaps into a Greninja, and Greninja can have access to Water Shuriken, which is a priority move. So what Sucker Punch does is that always attacks before the enemy if the enemy is using a damage dealing move. As I said, it's not just Rattata that can do this. For example, Starly can also do this. It has access to Endeavor and also Quick Attack. And I believe you can use Starly or any of the next evolutions in multiple teams. For example, on the Platinum strategy, I've seen a lot of people actually doing that. You can even do this with Donphan, by the way. Like, if you don't have a Focus Sash and if you have a Sturdy ability to use, you can use Sturdy on Donphan. There's people who do that. Before you do that, you just have to breed the Donphan and get, with the egg moves, you get End of War, and then you get Ice Shard, and then the Ice Shard is a priority move. It's just like Quick Attack, it will attack first, and then you don't even need to use a Focus Sash if you get yourself Sturdy. But now let's talk about real Pokemon, okay? Mega Ash Greninja. Why did I talk about Fear in the first place? Because the Fear strategy will also impact on how you can play this game. If you search online, usually people suggest like Surf or other high damaging moves over here for Greninja, but in my situation I had to adapt myself, and because I was using Greninja as my main attacker, I had no Stealth Rock to break the Focus Sashes or Sturdies or whatever. I was using Water Shuriken because I always had a Greninja in the front, and he was just the main damage dealer. He was killing everybody, and if there was a Rattata or something else that show up in front of me, I would just Water Shuriken them and they could not do the strategy against me. As you might or might not know, Ash Greninja and Zerara are Pokemons that are honestly locked behind paywall. So these first two options that I'm going to mention is going to be for the people who spend in the game. As you were seeing a while ago, this is the moveset that I go for Greninja. You get Ice Beam for free when you are defeating that Ice type gym. If you don't have Dark Pulse TM, you can just use the Night Slash. And also, if you don't have Grass not TM, you can use something like Extra Sensory. Related to ability, if you can get Protean, that's the biggest thing you can get on Greninja. It just increases his damage by so much. And Protean basically just means that he will increase his damage on every move because he will just transform in the type of the move that you will use. So with that said, what I usually prefer on Greninja is Adaptive Arrow. Going to our next one, we have Zerara. Zerara is already a cool Pokemon, but because in Soul Guardian he can also get the Mega Evolution, we have a 152 base attack and 153 speed. Together with that, if you get lucky to get the ability Tough Claws, it will increase all of his contact moves. And guess what? Most of Zerara's moves are actually contact moves. He learns Close Combat and Plasma Fists by himself, and if you don't have more TMs, you can use Fake Out, which you basically just stun the enemy the first time that you get into the battle, and you can use Hone Claws. But if you can afford to use TMs, we can actually use this moveset over here that I like it very much. We have Dual Shop, which is a dragon type attack, and it's very good because it attacks 2 times, so it's very good against those Fear strategies Pokemon that I mentioned earlier, and also Throat Chop for more coverage. The held items that I would probably use on Zerara, it's either Razor Claw or Life Orb. Adaptive Arrow is also not a bad option. And you know what? Mega Zerara is actually a very good counter of Ash Greninja. In those early to mid games to late games, Ash Greninja is actually a powerhouse, so it's really hard to counter this Pokemon. So Zerara is actually one of the few counters, like easy counters for this Pokemon. Let's go to our number 3, which is Manaphy. Now Manaphy has access to an amazing tool, which is Tail Glow. It will increase your special attack by 3 times. It's not 3 times your special attack, but you know, it's the 3 times the boost, so realistically increases your special attack by 150%. But increasing your special attack by 150%, and you already have like very nice base stats. This is like an awesome buff. Now the only problem about Manaphy is that you actually need TMs to play this Pokemon effectively. You can use Tail Glow and then Water Pulse, for example, which is only a 60 base power. But then, of course, TMs. Like this Pokemon needs TMs because you cannot breed him with egg moves. So technically we would like to have Surf if possible, but for the other like coverage moves, because we are not only going to use water types, we can use Energy Ball or Grass Knot. And then the last one is honestly according to whatever you need in your server. You can use Psychic, you can use Ice Beam if you are not going to build a Greninja, you can use Dazzling Gleam if you are dealing with too many Psychic type enemies or Dragon type enemies. There's honestly multiple options, but usually I prefer using Grass Knot, by the way. But for example, imagine that in your server you have an enemy that is also using Mega Manaphy. Energy Ball is better. This is because Grass Knot deals more damage the heavier the enemy is, and technically we are going to look at Manaphy. It's like 1.4 kilos. If it would be something like Mega Blastoise, for example, I'm pretty sure I'll find it. Yeah, Mega Blastoise above 100 kilograms, Grass Knot will deal nice damage on Mega Blastoise, but on Manaphy, the Grass Knot doesn't do anything, almost. Now I'm going to talk about the physical wall, which is Cobalion. Now, physical walls basically means that is a Pokemon that has high defense, high base defense, so if you find an enemy that is based on attack stat, the Cobalion will be able to just hold that enemy very well. Now, Mega Cobalion has very nice stats, and if you are even able to make it shiny, the stats are even much better. But one of the things that is also good is if you can get the ability. Right now it has Justified, it's not bad, but if you can get Dauntless Shield, raises the defense as soon as the Pokemon enters the battle. It will have 50% more defenses, and 50% of 150 is around 75, so you get like 200, close to 230 defense, if not more. I'm 99% sure you can obtain Mega Cobalion in the Safari, and the best part about Mega Cobalion is that 3 of his moves already come with the Pokemon itself. You don't need TMs, you have Iron Head, which is a high power steel type move, you have Sacred Sword or Close Combat, and you have Sword Stance, so you are basically already set. For the last move, if you don't have TMs, you can do Double Kick, for example, just to deal with fear Pokemon. But if you have TMs, I would honestly suggest Stealth Rock, because Cobalion is such a nice defensive Pokemon. You can just use this Pokemon as the first one in your party. It will survive for sure, and this way you can set up Stealth Rock against your enemies, and it's like your other teammates don't need to worry much about fear Pokemon anymore. Shout out to N-Riot from my guild. He is using Mega Cobalion, and honestly, like every time I faced him, even with my Mega Greninja, I would kinda struggle to kill this guy. It's not that I would be in danger with the much higher power Greninja, it's just that I would feel like he was taking so less damage compared to what my Greninja should be dealing. But speaking of physical walls, we have Mega Ferrothorn. Now, Mega Ferrothorn is amazing because you can breed, is an S tier, you can find it on the Safari as well, and it also has 151 defense, so it's a very high defensive Pokemon as well. You have already access to the ability that you need, which is Iron Barbs. The enemy attacks you and the enemy takes damage. And the way that I like to build Ferrothorn and the way that people have been playing it is also as a physical defensive Pokemon. You usually usually just run leftovers on this Pokemon and you are good to go. And if we go at the moveset, this is the moveset that I am using right now. We have Bullet Seed and Leech Seed. Those are like mandatory, and Bullet Seed is good for, well, the typical fear Pokemon. And then we have Gyro Ball, which deals more damage the slower you are, and technically you don't need speed on this Pokemon because your base stat is already 20 speed. I am currently running Iron Defense, but I personally feel that I would probably be better with Coil or Protect. I also have a guildmate, Viara, who is also using a Ferrothorn, a Mega Ferrothorn, and pretty sure it also has more special defense than mine. But over here, we can see also the moveset that Viara prefers. It's running Bullet Seed, Leech Seed, so it's like those are almost mandatory, but then it's using Protect and Curse. As you can see, like, you can just do multiple things that you prefer. I personally prefer to have Gyro Ball for that steel type damage to, I don't know, damage a fairy type or something that I might need to just speed up the process a little bit faster, but Curse and Protect, this is basically the ultimate stalling thing, and I don't think it's wrong. It's actually very nice. But keep in mind, this is a stalling Pokemon, so it's only for those who fit the stalling playstyle. But let's go. Last but not least, we have our beautiful Bug Lady. If you follow the channel, you already know that I enjoy Bug Lady a lot. Now, how do you even play Pheromosa? First of all, the ability you cannot change is always Beast Boost, so we always want to have more attack than speed. And with, we basically just, over here, I went with a Nature Jolly, but going with Adamant would not be like very bad because honestly she has 161 speed, 197 attack, so getting like even more damage on Pheromosa is your main goal. You have 197 attack on a shiny Mega Pheromosa and you want even more. So related to held items, you can go either Life Orb. I usually prefer Life Orb, it's like the more damage the better, or you can also use an Adaptive Arrow. Related to moveset, here's where there's also multiple options. Now, I was using this moveset before, but I was noticing that because of using this moveset, I was struggling a little bit against types that Pheromosa does not really enjoy. Let's take a look at the stats again. Look at those defenses. Those defenses suck. This is a Pokemon that is meant to attack first and kill, so that it can activate Beast Boost, it will get even more attack and hopefully just delete the whole enemy team. So for that, I usually had Double Kick to deal with fear Pokemon, but if you can have a Pokemon with Stealth Rock to put Stealth Rock on the field, and those fear Pokemon get damaged the moment they just join the battle, everything is just fine. So I would usually run High Jump and Lunge because they are the highest damage dealers of the Pheromosa's typing. U-turn is the move that you just use in case you want to go back. Because imagine, you put Pheromosa like out and you kill somebody, but then the enemy puts like a ghost type in front of you and you are like, oh my god, what do? I don't do damage to that, but I will do some damage with U-turn and just switch Pokemon anyways. About the last move, I mean, there's not like too many options, and usually what you need to play this Pokemon is actually TMs. So if we go over here, I would say like the moves that I used the most and I enjoyed was Poison Jab because it could deal with some fairy types, but you can also use Drill Run if you are missing some ground damage dealers on the team, and that's pretty much it. I guess you can use Outrage or Throat Chop, but that honestly depends on the coverage. Like, use whatever physical move that you find on Pheromosa and whatever you need to coverage comparing to the rest of your team. Remember, she's a glass cannon. She's meant to go out there, assassinate people. And if you fail to assassinate, she will die. Anyways, that was my list for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys on the next video.